They were betrayed. They were betrayed. They were told that if they sacrifice at the altar of the transfer portal, that they would receive the blessings from the transfer portal gods. But that was a lie. And I'm going to talk about that more. Welcome to the channel. I'm Brian. I'm glad you're here. Woo! We're going on into September. I just realized how I did that. Everybody might be thinking that I'm referring to Ric Flair. I'm not Ric Flair, but you know that. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. We're going to talk about the transfer portal. We're going to talk about the teams that's been struggling. We're going to talk about the one team outside of the service academies that's not using the transfer portal. My thoughts on that. But before I go any farther, if you're new here, drop me a line. Let me know that you're here. It's always nice to talk to people who's new, and also, it's always good to hear from the people who watches me all the time. If you haven't subscribed and you like what I'm doing, I hope you'll subscribe. Remember, it is free, so let's dive right in. It is no surprise that the Florida State Seminoles use the transfer portal. They're like a lot of teams. And last year, except for that bowl game, and I know all the explanations of why they lost and how bad they lost, but they had an undefeated season up until that point. Mike Norvell had turned the Florida State Seminoles around in a lot of ways. I mean, it's not too long ago that the Florida State was in Death Valley getting their head bashed in, or Clemson down at Tallahassee beating the crap out of them. It's not that long ago. But Mike Norvell came in and he made them respectable again. He made them look like they were the front runner for the ACC championship this year. Sure, they lost a lot of people. Mike Norvell is good at calling plays, and he's apparently really good at going out to the transfer portal and pulling in guys. You got to remember that Jordan Travis, his quarterback last year, he was a transfer from Louisville a few years prior to that. He brought in that really good lineman. For some reason, I can't remember his name. His defensive lineman last couple of years ago. We've got him out of Albany. That guy was unbelievable. Of course, Keon Coleman, who caught the game-winning touchdown in overtime against Clemson last year. He got that guy out of the portal. He got others out of the portal. And I was told over and over, Norvell went to the portal. He has replaced the talent that he's lost. And they're going to be a front runner for the ACC championship. But they lost to Georgia Tech on a walk-off field goal. So everybody chill out, okay? This stuff happens. There's still a road to the ACC championship for Florida State. There's still a chance, especially with the college football playoff being tripled in size. There's a chance that they can make it in. So everybody chill out. And then they played Boston College at home on a Monday night. And Boston College could have beat them by another touchdown, but they decided to take a knee inside their, 10-yard line? Inside Florida State's 10-yard line? So all of Florida State's reaching out to the transfer portal didn't fix things this year. Let's move on. There's a team that played in the very first week. In fact, it was the banner game of the week. Even when we played Georgia, of course, Clemson lost, and we don't want to talk about that right now, but that was the banner game of the day. He had Mike Elko. He's first-time head coach at Texas A&M, playing against his old quarterback from Duke, Riley Leonard. He's up there at Notre Dame. He had Bo Collins transferring in from Clemson into Notre Dame. Both teams had used the transfer portal, but Notre Dame is Notre Dame. I said they were overranked, and I personally don't have a problem with Notre Dame. I get the whole thing that they're overrated and blah, blah, blah. They get shoved down your throat. And but I don't have a problem with them. They went in and they won. And all of a sudden, the peasants rejoice. And then 28.5-point underdog, Northern Illinois, goes into South Bend and beats them. If you watch that game, the coaching was not that good. But they sacrificed at the temple of the transfer portal. Somebody forgot to tell that to Northern Illinois. And just in a 3, maybe 4-hour period, a team that was seen as a potential to make it to the college football playoff was having to answer questions not only of if they could make it to the playoff, but what's the status of their coach? He just blew another game. This is year 3. He's used the transfer portal. Come on, man. That's what you do for instant success. We can talk about Florida and how they've used the transfer portal. I mean, they got Graham Mertz. They got, Ricky Pearsall. I know he's no longer with them. They've got players out of the transfer portal. Look at the state of their program. Let's look at LSU. LSU can't win an opener. I mean, Brian Kelly's beaten on the table. Looks like he's about to drop dead due to a heart attack because he's stressed out. 3 years in a row, he has lost his opener. That's his first 3 years at LSU. But LSU sacrifices at the temple of the transfer portal. They were supposed to be rewarded. The only team outside of the service academies that's not sacrificing at said temple is the Clemson Tigers. Now let's pause there. I am not against the transfer portal. I do agree with Dabo to a point that most of the players in the transfer portal, they're not that good. They're not. Over 3,000 players entered the transfer portal last year. Okay? Out of those players, I have no clue how many are that good. But all you have to do is go watch the transfer portal and you'll quickly see like a Riley Leonard that transferred from Duke to Notre Dame. You'll see a Cam Ward come out of Washington State and transfer to Miami. And you'll have some players here and there that might raise an eyebrow, but for the vast majority of them, it's not that good. And it's definitely not worth shelling out money to them. Only a few are actually worthwhile to shell out money to get them to come to your respected school. The transfer portal, especially for a good football team, is just to reach in and bridge some gaps. Georgia, hate to bring them up, they actually went to the transfer portal and pulled a guy from Vanderbilt. He's a receiver. Guy called it, I think, a touchdown pass against Clemson. That guy fits into that Ladd McConkey kind of look. So they brought him in because he fit in their system. They also recruit very well out of high school. But you use it as you need it. Other teams like Texas State, Colorado, they go in and they rack up. Now they're coming at it from a different angle. Colorado, no matter how you feel about them, no matter how you feel about Deion Sanders, last year they did win, 4 times the games they won the year before? Because the year before they only won 1 game. So last year they win 4? So there's 4 times. So you could say, hey, we have a 400% increase on wins. Just don't tell them the final record. But they're coming at it from a different angle. They're not going to get the same recruits that Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, and so on is going to get. So I get why they do it. What is my ramblings all about? We are fed the transfer portal by a fire hose, especially in the off season. But even now, at the beginning of the season, you're sitting there, you're watching the games, you're watching the pregame shows, you're watching game day and the big noon kickoff on Fox, which basically my favorite now. And you can't help but to be sitting there and all of a sudden it's like transfer portal, 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 transfer. I took a dump, transfer portal. Oh, that girl fell down, transfer portal. I think I heard a cat meowing, transfer portal. Somebody cook some beans, transfer portal. It's just nonstop. You know why? Because it's easy to talk about. It's easy to blame people for not going to the transfer portal enough. But what are they overlooking? Coaching. That's it. Who's standing on your sidelines? As the head coach, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, position coaches on each side of the ball. And anyone else that may be in some capacity, whether it's an analyst or now, you can have as many coaches on the sidelines. I think Dabo Swinney, he's hired or brought in basically everyone that's willing from his 2 former national championship teams. Just go stand on the sidelines. We're just going to have them standing here, remind us about the culture. But whoever is in a true coaching capacity matters. Why did people wet their drawers when it was announced that Matt Luke was hired at Clemson? It's because he's truly a specialist. It's because you could talk to a Georgia fan. I've said this once, and I'm telling you, it's true. You can go look through my comments section on various videos. People will be talking pure trash about Clemson, how awful they are, and Dabo's dumb, and you Tiger fans play in the ACC, and y'all are ridiculous. You got lucky with those 2 national championships. Oh, but you hired Matt Luke. Matt Luke is incredible. That's how good he is. Because coaches, especially at this level, are supposed to be seen as specialists, experts. You're not supposed to be able to go to a small college football school and find the same level of expert that you would find at Ohio State or Alabama. You don't supposed to. Let's think about the medical field. You go to your family doctor, you're having some issue, God forbid, with your brain, and he looks at you and he says, hey, we need to send you to a neurologist, a specialist. This person is going to be probably extremely well paid because the brain is, well, the brain. And if you need surgery, a neurosurgeon's even more. Not just anyone can be a neurosurgeon, not knocking anyone that is not a neurosurgeon. But they are paid very well because they're expected to do a very difficult job that I can't do and most likely you can't do. And the same is with college football coaches. A head coach, no matter how they run the program, whether it's more of a CEO type and they make the right hires and they let them do what they do by trusting their hires, or they're more hands-on. They're more of a Nick Saban. Maybe they're more of a Lane Kiffin who's calling plays, and even when he's not calling plays, he still is calling plays. The point is, coaching matters. As I said before, think about this. Almost every team except for Clemson and the service academies uses the transfer portal. They all should be doing great, but they're not. In Florida State and Notre Dame, these 2 schools are the best examples of it. I think they're 2 of the best examples of it. I think that they prove that you actually have to have good coaching. I'm not knocking Mike Norvell. I think Norvell is a good coach. But sometimes bringing in players, no matter who they are, they still have to mesh, they still have to execute, and you still have to have the coaches around you. As the head coach, those position coaches still have to do their thing. I have preached this over and over as Clemson's main problem on the offensive side of the football. And I've added that just because you fired someone that you shouldn't have hired in the first place, just because they're gone, their influence is still there. And unless someone graduates, and you graduate them out and they have no more eligibility, or they're a younger player and they really didn't spend that much time around that position coach, you're in a pickle. Because you're going to have to retrain that reaction time and their approach to the game that was poorly taught to them. That's why position coaches matter. That's why head coaching matters. Coaching matters. And if it doesn't, you know what's coming. If you watch me, you know what I'm about to say. Why are they paid so flippin' much? I mean, are we just looking for ways as schools and donors? Are they looking for ways just to waste money? I'll send you my address. You can waste your money on me. I won't even charge as much. I'll even help you write it off. We'll figure it out. I'll set up something that's legal so you can give me money that you just apparently want to give away because coaching doesn't matter. Coaches are called the experts. The higher up they are, the bigger the team, the more historically dominant the team. There seemed to be even a greater expert. I don't buy it all the time. So the transfer portal is a good tool, but the transfer portal has been made into the main character of college football. The transfer portal has been made into the make or break of a football team. In today's video, the goal behind it is to boldly look that lie in the eye and call it as it is. It's supplementary, but it's not the main character. Coaching is. Coaching is. Just ask the fans in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. They'll tell you. That's the reason. When they heard that Nick Saban was gone, they probably went somewhere and sat in a dark room because they realized they were Alabama before Nick Saban. They just wasn't that Alabama. Folks, tell me what you think. I want to get to the comment section and say hello real quick. George, hadn't seen you in here in a long time, my friend. Good to see you. Good to see you. George's been a viewer for a long time. Go Gators, beat A&M. Good to see you. Joe Starks, go Tigers, good to see you. Assassin, good to see you. NC Vince, go Tigers. Got Joey Cogdell in here. Just goes to show the portal isn't the end-all, be-all for the success. I just wish he would dip his toe in the water. I agree with you. Supplementary. I'm not against the portal. I'm with you there. Pull a player here, pull a player there. Make sure that they make sense. But first and foremost, hire the guys that their eligibility doesn't run out. It just matters whether you pay them or not. That's the coaches. And by the way, coaches overall versus paying a bunch of players, coaches are actually more affordable. Y'all go sit and ponder that one. Joey Cogdell is a member. You see that symbol beside his name? I always like to point that out. He supports the channel on a monthly basis, $3 or $5. Thank you, Joey, for not only subscribing, which I really appreciate, but also thanks for supporting monthly. Tyler Howell, one thing about abusing the portal is that the high school kids may not want to come to your school to sit on the bench behind 22-year-old transfers every year. Maybe Dabo's onto something. Maybe so. My biggest beef with Dabo has been the coaching hires on the offensive side of the football. That's my biggest beef with him. I may not fully agree with him on the portal as a whole, but he's not completely wrong there. I guarantee this. If the coaching hires were better a few years ago, I think we'd be a different Clemson right now. I really do. In a good way. DJ was a terrible player. Justin Parrott. SC Country, Colorado has used the portal more than anyone. It hasn't helped them. Yeah, I think that, well, I mean, we saw it this past week with Matt Rule in Nebraska. And I told you, when Matt Rule took over, I could care less what he did in the NFL. I don't know how anybody coaches in the NFL. But Matt Rule could coach college football. And I said, you give that man about 3 years and he's going to be a problem. And I mean, they really handled Colorado pretty well. And that quarterback helped and so on. But hey, he got the quarterback there. He did it. And, I mean, you just saw the difference. That's what a good coach looks like. That's what a good football coach looks like. Vol Slim, Jimmy, Tennessee's gotten great players from the transfer portal, but we also recruit high school heavy, and I think that's the perfect mix. You know, Slim Jimmy, I want to throw this out there to you. You have a good coach. You have a good football coach. So, yes, you got Brew McCoy, and you know, you've got guys like him that came in, and guys that only you know, because I'm not a Tennessee fan, don't keep up with it. Yeah, you pulled guys in, Thornton. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. You have a good coach. Josh Heupel can coach, period. And that's the deal. You can't live in the transfer portal and expect to have a championship team with continuity and leadership. Yep. What's your point? Transfer portal is supplementary, and coaching is the key. Good coaching at every level is the key. You're sounding like Sweeney today. Hey, don't say that. Don't say that. Tyler. I'll never forget that. Shane Bentley. Indeed. He was a good part of the 2021 UGA title. You are right, Shane Bentley, and thanks for supporting a channel. There's that symbol beside his name, Shane Bentley. Lighting it up, supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Thank you so much. Monkey, oh, come on. You don't want me doing brain surgery on you? Yeah. I think I'll pass. Those portal players are the scrubs who couldn't see the field when they were recruited. Dabo has been right about not using it this entire time. I think supplementary, but you got to be careful. You got to be really, really careful. Coaching is king. Dogs rolling loud. Go Dogs. Good to see you, my friend. Hey, Porta Potty Parker says hello. That is awesome. Did you just, I mean, you always said that, but never said it on here? Parker Henderson supporting the channel on a monthly basis. You see that? Thanks, Parker. Porta Potty Parker. That's really hard to say, Parker. My God, you messed me up. Matthew Smith. Dabo is still a good coach. Kevin. Problem with the transfer portal is when a good player enters it, basically a bidding war between 10 to 20 schools starts. That is true. That is true. NC Vince says something very interesting. No way he's at Colorado next year, talking about Dion. I wonder. I really, really wonder. I think if most teams would just shut their mouth and go in and play against him and be like, wow, that's Deion Sanders on the other side. Deion was a great athlete. He was unbelievable. Deion is very good at promoting products, and he can get media hype going. I mean, he's really, really good at that. But if people would just stop taking shots at him and running their mouth and just go out and play him and just treat him as another coach, I think with what's going on at Colorado, and I think with the lack of talent that they do have there, and I think with the lack of coaching that they have there, you're going to win way more times than not. And I agree with you. I don't see him there. Maybe he hangs on a few more years, but I think the show is going to be up soon. Folks, let me know what you think. Leave the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't. Remember, it's free. It's always good to see y'all. You take care of yourself, and as always, go Tigers.